Hi everyone. Today I wanted to discuss the Rolex Datejust and present to you some information about this classic Rolex model which may help you if you're in the market for one. The Rolex Datejust has been around since 1945. In those 75 years, the model has seen so many different bracelet, dial and bezel combinations, the task of actually buying one can be quite daunting. In this video, I'll go through a basic chronology of the various models produced, highlight some of the more famous references, as well as telling you what to look out for when purchasing one yourself. As always, there's timestamps in the description below, so feel free to jump to whichever part you are most interested in. In 1945, Rolex released the Oyster Perpetual Datejust, reference 4467 with a caliber 710 movement. The Oyster Noma signified the watch's water resistance capabilities due to its bubble-back caseback. The Perpetual pointed to the automatic movement found within it. It was the first watch to feature a date window which changed at midnight, meaning the date would always be just. It did not feature the Cyclops lens, which we now typically associate with Rolex, especially the Datejust. It did, however, feature the iconic Jubilee bracelet. The watch was only available in yellow gold, unlike the later models which were also available in other materials such as rose gold and steel. In the 1950s, the now synonymous Cyclops was added, as well as the fluted bezel, replacing the coin-edge bezel of the original. The movement was upgraded to the caliber 1065, allowing now for a flat caseback and a quicker date change. The 1960s was a quiet decade for the Swiss watch world in terms of innovation, as it battled for survival amidst the quartz crisis. Likewise, the Datejust range saw a simple movement upgrade, with the famous caliber 1570 being installed. The 1970s was the polar opposite of the 60s, with design changes, movement changes, as well as the start of the 160 reference. The caliber 3035 was installed, which allowed the quick setting of the date. Previously, the date could only be adjusted through adjusting the time, meaning it could take an awfully long time to set the correct date. The dial also changed from its original pipe hand shape to a flat design. The decade ended with Rolex producing its first quartz watch, the Rolex Datejust Oyster Quartz, reference 17000, featuring the in-house 5035 movement. This was in a way a response to the quartz crisis of the 60s, but the watch proved unpopular. The 80s saw the launch of the Datejust, I would say as we know it, with the workhorse 3135 movement and the sapphire crystal. This was the start of the 162 reference, which still dominates the used market today. The next 2 decades, the 90s and the 2000s, saw small revisions, with a design update in 2004 starting the 1162 reference. This was followed by a huge change in 2009 with the release of the 41mm Datejust 2 in Baselworld. However, this proved unpopular and was discontinued in 2016. Rolex took this opportunity to clarify the Datejust range. They relaunched a 41mm model Datejust, calling it the Datejust 41 rather than the Datejust 2. Furthermore, they renamed the 36mm as the Datejust 36. Both models are preceded with a reference 126, and both models feature the upgraded 3235 movement. So amongst all these different references, which are the ones to look out for? Well, firstly, I think the Rolex Datejust Oyster Quartz. In my opinion, this is a criminally underrated watch, and I predict that its value will begin to rise soon. The reasons why I think this is firstly because these watches are starting to become much rarer. In good condition, with box and papers, they are tough to find, especially in certain dial combinations. Secondly, I think it's a really unique piece. Collectors nowadays are looking for anything unique or special within the world of Rolex, especially as some of the other coveted collector's pieces, like a Spider Dial Submariner, are getting increasingly difficult to find. Lastly, the Oyster Quartz can be had for about £4,000 to £5,000 depending on condition. This is a fantastic price for a rare, special piece in the collection. My second pick amongst the Datejust range is the 162 reference. The main attraction to this reference is firstly the classic design. For me, when I think about a Datejust, I think of a 162. Secondly, it features the workhorse 3135 movement. This is an ultra reliable movement, and what's more, it's very easy to service with parts available widely. Lastly, and probably most importantly, is price. This watch can be had for just £4,000 in decent condition. Telltale things to look out for with a Datejust is firstly the condition of the bracelet, especially if it's a Jubilee bracelet. These bracelets are notorious for stretching out and are expensive to replace. A good way to tell the condition is to put the watch face on its side with the crown facing up. The bracelet should droop slightly but not excessively. If you're not able to view the watch in person, try to get the seller to send you a picture like this. The second thing to look out for is a condition of the cyclops. Older models, which may have been polished or had the crystal buffed with polywatch, may have a worn out cyclops that no longer magnifies to the correct amount. This is not really a big issue, but fake Rolexes often have inadequately magnified cyclopses too, so you may find yourself being called out for your genuine Rolex. The Datejust for me is everything a Rolex should be: understated, classic, and a little ostentatious. It's my 25th birthday soon, and I was thinking about picking one of these up. Which model should I go for? Do you agree the oyster quartz value will rise? I hope you found this video helpful. Please let me know if you have any questions. All the best, Rashid.